if you're a Leninist, you actually have to fight for oppressed people. It's part of it. It's like that's how the proletariat becomes a universal class, by fighting for everybody, by fighting against all oppression. And this moron, he didn't do that reading. His reading is just like freaking, like the fact that he has an American flag up, like fuck you. And you're saying like the ruling class doesn't support the American flag, you dipshit? Like that's an imperialist flag. It's, a blood-soaked banner. And you're gonna fly that, but you're gonna shit on a pride flag? Go fuck yourself, you douchebag.
I've read Marx. I've read Engels. I've read Das Kapital.
The world is run by Trotskyists.
Hardcore Trotskyists.
How great! An anti-American Marxist!
They're controlled by Trotskyists, as you put it, and these are the most evil, sick human beings on the face of the planet.
Doug, I have a question for you in the chat.
I'll be right back.
Sure, I didn't. What is it?
So in reference to Stalin's book, Marxism and the National Question, Chapter 5, The Bund, Its Nationalism and Separatism, Stalin explains his stance on German Jews. The person in chat asks, did Trotsky have a view of German Jews in the same way Stalin did?
I mean, Trotsky he didn't support separatism or Bundism. So if you want to say that he had the same view as Stalin in that, sure. It also should be noted that was essentially there is differences between Lenin and Stalin on the national question. And if you read Trotsky's Stalin biography, he basically says that Lenin essentially, after conversations with Stalin, kind of helped shape Stalin's views that he eventually wrote. But so basically, I mean, in the sense, like both Stalin and Trotsky were opposed to like the Bund as like a separate organization. And when Trotsky was asked at one point, about his nationality, he actually just said, "I'm a social democrat."
Yeah, they went back to like the Second Congress, right, in 1902.
Yeah, they were the Bund were kicked out.
That was a major issue.
There was eventually. I'd have to look this up, but I think it was either 1918 or 1919. There was a Jewish section formed of like the Bolshevik Party, when this was, of course, during the Civil War, and so there was like a large influx of members at that point. But this is all, again, they were in power at that point. I should add, like, as much as as we dislike Stalin, his book on the national question is actually worth checking out, because it is also written before the revolution itself. And like, you just ask yourself, if Stalin died in like 1914,
he would have been pretty fucking cool. He was a bank robber. Stuff.
You probably would still, there are important differences between Lenin and Stalin in terms, like, there's on the national question, but it is actually worth reading. And when I took politics of nationalism in college, it was either the first or the second text we read was Stalin on the national question.
I've heard,
and the teacher actually said, like, "Oh, I hate Stalin, but he actually has like a good definition of the nation."
Wow.
So,
hey.
Yeah,
right.
I've heard that is one of his stronger texts.
Yeah. And frankly, again, it's like it's an important text on nationalism, whether you like it or not. It's like you actually should read it.
Fair enough.
There we are, Stalinists. We're plugging one of your books. Okay, so you happy?
Enjoy the moment. It's the only time we'll do this.
There you go. Relish in it.
I've actually been meaning to reread it myself. It's been a while.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready? Are we moving on to our second section of the show? This is the better part. Sometimes we all get a little bit down. We get a little sad. We see the world happening. We see Donald Trump. We see Elon fucking Musk. We see a lot of bad shit. But one thing we can always say every day is that none of us are members of the American quote unquote Communist Party. We're not them, and we're not any of their stupid ideology. So this article was given to me by a member of Left Voice, Tristan. I really did appreciate him sending it over. He does listen, so he offered this one up. Now, this one is written in 2023. So the American Communist Party, thankfully in this timeline, doesn't exist. I wish in all timelines in the universe it never existed, but this is the one we're in. So I really enjoyed it. So there's a few pieces here. It's a kind of longish article, so I'll just get a few things here. But the opening: capitalism capitalism and U.S. imperialism in crisis, the breeding ground for fascism. Since 2008, the volume of world trade and production has continued to decline, while global trade alignments have shifted dramatically to the advantage of China. In just 20 years, China has surpassed the U.S. as the world's leading trading partner. Currently, 128 of 190 countries have China as their major trading partner, and China represents an intolerable challenge to imperialism as both an economic and ideological competitor. In reaction to the collapse of neoliberal hegemony cantered in the U.S. and the Eurozone, the anti-liberal, neo-modernist, identitarian national movements have emerged. They've appeared in the names as Le Pen in France, Meloni in Italy, Bolsonaro in Brazil, the Alternative for Germany, Vox, which is in Spain, Viktor Orban in Hungary, and Trump. While they adopt different forms of depending on the country and its geopolitical relation to imperialism, they do share common characteristics. As the crisis deepens and drive to reporting. As the crisis deepens and the drive to world war accelerates, the main Stalinist, Maoist, and Trotskyist tendencies have either defaulted as agents to the class struggle or capitulated outright to imperialism. As one person notes, in the case of imperialist proxy wars in the Ukraine, the NATO left, which stands against Russia, are nothing but scabs. This betrayal has created a vacuum on the left, which an open space into which the alt-right is trying to occupy. So that's one piece there that I think is important that, and Doug was just talking and I were just discussing, is that, the NATO left, or we call them the blue and white tankies, which are the colors of NATO if you're just joining us for the first time. But, they're picking sides. And it's not like this was Vietnam versus, say, the United States. You'd back Vietnam. This isn't like the Republican Spain fighting fascist Spain. You back the loyalist Republican Spain. There are sides we pick. This is just an imperialist war, and there's no good sides to this at all. And meanwhile, you have a lot of DSA people picking sides in it or coming up with really weird views on how to kind of be neutral.
Well, with DSA, it's a little different because people like AOC and their elected representatives have voted to fund Ukraine in the war. That's a lot different than any of their pseudo resolutions they put up. And that's what counts with DSA.
Yeah, excellent point there too. The point then also, and this is more of a breakdown of how it leads up to MAGA communism, so I like this. MAGA in this section, MAGA and the betrayals of the Democrats, two sides of the same coin. While spending $8 trillion to bail out the banks and rescue the financial markets, Barack Obama offered nothing but more misery to the masses. The liberal Democrats expanded the regime change wars in Iraq and Afghanistan to Libya and Syria. The U.S. financed and enabled the Maidan coup in Kiev and the resultant war on the Russophone East country in 2014. Through the recession of 2011, thousands of youths descended to New York City to occupy Wall Street under the banner, "We are the 99% and we oppose the wealthy 1%, who enrich themselves at our expense." Occupy Wall Street was a harbinger of the Social Democratic Sanders insurgency in 2016, which declared, quote, a political revolution against the billionaire class. As we all know, that movement was defeated thoroughly by the right wing of the party to defeat Bernie Sanders, and the defeat of the Sanders insurgency and the demoralization of the party's progressive youth set the stage for the election of Donald Trump. That's why we're getting stuck with Trump. Who was the MAGA base? A rough estimate is about 1/3 of all Republican Party voters. This bloc represents the precarious petit bourgeois in the sections of the working class who were most impacted by the globalization of production. There is a usual rabble of far-right xenophobes and white nationalist racists. A third block is evangelical Christians. The ranks of the January 6th riot were for most part small-scale merchant layers, retired and off-duty police and military personnel, and members of fascist militias like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. Ashley Babbitt, killed by the FBI as she breached the congressional chambers, was a 14-year Air Force veteran of the two wars, a security guard at a nuclear power plant, and an indebted small business owner and a follower of the far-right QAnon conspiracy group. Trotsky's famous line profile describes this mob very well. Through the fascist agency, capitalism sets in motion the masses of the crazed petty bourgeois and the bands of declassed and demoralized lumpen proletariat. All the countless human beings who finance capital has itself brought into desperation and frenzy. It's historical antecedents of MAGA communism. So this is Strasserism. I know Doug is probably an expert on knowing this stuff pretty well, but Strasserism refers to the left wing of the Nazi Party. Its theorist was Otto Strasser, while his brother Gregor and Ernest Röhm were the leaders of the SA Brown Shirts. Hitler referred to them as the beefsteak Nazis, brown like their uniforms on the outside, red like their politics on the inside. The Nazi left wing counterposed productive to finance capital, focusing its propaganda on money grubbing Jewish bankers and other forms of speculative capital seen as parasitic on German industry. They opposed the conservatism of traditional elites. To appeal to small merchants, they demanded the breakup of the big department stores to be leased to small merchants. For the peasantry, they demanded the nationalization of the landed estates of the Junker aristocracy. For the artisanal unemployed, they advocated expanding apprenticeship programs free of trade union control. They actively tried to recruit from the unemployed in the proletarian base of the KPD, or the Communist Party of Germany. The Straßenreich shared Hitler's biologically rooted blood and soil racism, his virtual anti-Semitism, and determination above all else to crush Marxism. Doug, anything else?
I would just say, like, not like the Straussites are left wing in the scare quote sense. Like,
right.
It's important to note, like, the struggle against Jewish capitalism or Jewish finance, which they advocate, is not a substitute for the struggle against capitalism. That it's a pseudo revolution. It's never real. It's always false. And Mussolini had something similar as a third way, which he tried to implement in the Salo Republic after he was brought back into power by Hitler. And it's a fake revolution all down the line. And it's important, like, so, like, that's the whole thing about fascism. It offers, like, the spectacle and sometimes, like, this kind of revolutionary aesthetic, but it never in any variety offers a real revolution at all. And some people get attached to this rhetoric and they think, oh, we can, because they're anti-liberal or they don't like finance. Well, there's actually a quote I'd like to bring up from Franz Neumann about the struggle against the bankers. And he wrote a book. The reason I bring him up is he wrote one of the major histories of Nazi Germany. He said, the fight against banking capital is not anti-capitalism. It is on the contrary, capitalism, indeed often fascist capitalism, not only in Germany, but in almost every other country. Those who do not tire of attacking the supremacy of finance capital, by which they always understand banking capital, thereby play into the hands of the most powerful and most aggressive groups in modern society, the industrial monopolists. Whenever the outcry against the sovereignty of banking capital is injected into a popular movement, it is the sure sign that fascism is on the way. And you know who else really didn't like banking capital? Henry Ford.
Oh.
And Henry Ford was an anti-Semitic piece of crap and a union buster, because he thought, you know, industrial capital was the productive capitalists, even though he's obviously not productive at all. It's the workers. And that's important to make. Like, our struggle is not against bankers. Our struggle is not against industrialists, it's against capitalists. All of them, without exception.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's also this thing with the American Communist Party, and it's like this whole thing with BlackRock Finance Capital. It's just, you know, granted, BlackRock is a bad, evil corporation. They're the biggest landlords in the country. But it seems like, you know, what's the thing? History doesn't rhyme, but it doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And it's like, substitute, you know, the quote, money grubbing, you know, Judeo-Bolshevist stuff to just BlackRock. You know, like, it's similar. That's it. So, interesting. And this is another piece. I'll just skip to this part. After January 6th, moving beyond left and right in the rise of MAGA communism. 2 weeks after Trump's attempted coup, YouTube celebrity Jimmy Dore hosted the fascist Boogaloo boy Magnus. I can't pronounce his last name. Jimmy Dore is using his YouTube presence as a platform to publicize a wide range of unite the left and right activists, including Jackson Hinkle and LaRochite Diane Sarr. The Wall Street backed Neil. And that's just it. Like, that was a whole thing. It's neither left nor right, but above, you know, that whole stupid shit that we've been hearing with these people, like, you know, he would always, well, the Black Panthers work with, you know, the KKK and stuff. And it's like,
that's a longtime fascist slogan too.
Right.
Or neither left nor right. Like, Mussolini said that, other fascists have said that, and it's always, you know, it's like the Scooby-Doo meme. You pick off neither left nor right, you pull off the mask, it's right wing.
Yeah. It's so funny because I'm always like, okay, well, that's interesting given that all the solutions are left wing. Like, if you really want to get down to it, it's funny how that works.
I mean, the nicest thing you could say about someone new to politics who's saying that is they're ignorant.
Right.
Because
we
are left wing. We're the real leftists. Communists, we're the solution.
Yeah. And honestly, it's like an understandable thought for someone who's very new to politics. But then you have to get people to understand, like, yes, it's about all of us, but you got to think leftly.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to live in it. Like, I wouldn't want to live in an authoritarian Stalinist state. I wouldn't want to live in an authoritarian Saudi Arabia. But, like, those are bad authority. Yes, we want to go against authority that's unjust. But, like, what economic model? The one that has universal, single payer healthcare, worker democracy, a state plan of economy, or like Mad Max, like there's going to be a difference, and you're going to have to pick an economic model. That's what has to happen. So yeah, you can be against authoritarian. Yeah, that's great. I don't want, some government bureaucrat or some fascist dictator telling me what I can and can't do. But like at the same point too, I might want a left-wing government to say that nuclear power plant, you don't have a right to go in there. We're going to use a little authority that says you can't just go in there and start touching buttons. You do need some authority, but like that's fine. That's just not like, oh, you're this you're this religion, or you're this race. Well, you can't come here at certain, that's the whole thing. So yeah, you can't just, we're beyond left, right. Shut up, you idiot. Come on. That is the dumbest thing in the world. So no, and the way it can kind of conclude it, I liked. The Wall Street-backed neoliberal Democrats could neither absorb the angry workers and youth who flocked to Sanders' left populist banner, nor concede to the working class and its social allies any progressive demands at all. Traditional conservatives like Bush deserted their party for Clinton and Biden 4 years later. Those who claim there's no difference between left and right are correct between the two capitalist parties, which control the electoral field. Their stands only are cartoonish and toothless identity politics. The parties of the radical middle class, like the Greens, offer the masses nothing but solar power, vegetable gardens, and buy local anti-monopoly rhetoric. The Social Democratic DSA is merely an extension of the Democrats, as is the tiny CPUSA. So I love the thing about the Green Party, but like, we don't have, like I said, yeah, I know. We don't have a really social, like I said, we don't have a mass socialist or communist party that could stand up to any of this. And, we're working on it. I know there's, like I said, please check out Revolutionary Communists of America. Check out Independent Socialist Group. There are groups doing stuff,
Yes, absolutely.
Please.
But not at the level we need.
Right, exactly. It's not going to be overnight. But please go join them. If you can't do that, Marxist, make sure you educate yourself. Join a Marxist reading group. There's a couple great ones I might know of, but do that. If you're in a trade union, go to your goddamn union meetings, volunteer to help out. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And unfortunately, we're in the belly of the beast, as Che Guevara said. So we got a big fight ahead of us. So, but please don't join DSA. All right, don't just show up. Go to DSA just to get people to leave DSA and join a real.
No, don't even do that.
Yeah. Don't even, just show up outside the meeting hall and hand out flyers on why they shouldn't go in. Do that. There you go. And maybe take some of their free brownies if they have any. Do that. Then you can, whatever. But yeah, so that's a great article written by the Robert Montgomery. Great. It's a very long article. It was just the highlights, but I really, really enjoyed it. So please definitely check it out. And thank you, Tristan from Less Voice, on recommending it. That was really great.
No, it's definitely an informative article. I will say, and as someone who reads a lot of obscure stuff, I appreciate the attention to detail, even if it's like on a certain level, it's like, oh God, why are you doing this much for like a bunch of morons? But I do appreciate it at that level because someone has to do like the dirty work.
Yep. All right. Aaron,
so what this basically explains is like sort of the like the basic, like the social basis for groups like the mega communists that eventually formed out of this. And I think we've gotten into this something about this article seems really familiar. I think we may have read it before, either on stream or maybe on the podcast. This article, either on stream or on the podcast. I'm not sure.
Okay, because the whole thing is like, if you go back to Occupy Wall Street, you have actually like people who are fascists, like Baked Alaska. A lot of these fascists started actually with Occupy Wall Street. Like that's
Tim
the whole
True.
thing. Was that Tim, right. A lot of these people started off right, in the correct thing, but for different reasons they ended up going in weird ass directions. And and Occupy Wall Street, Democratic president, Democratic mayors, Democratic governors in many of these states that went down and crushed all these movements. I was there in Boston with Obama as the president, Deval Patrick was our governor, Mayor Thomas Menino, all three Democrats. And they came in with riot police, beat the shit out of some people, and arrested 145 people. I was there that night when they came in with their little jackboots and all the little marching and everything. Like, that's them. The Democrats tolerated us until they didn't want to do it anymore. And they coordinated with Homeland Security to arrest them all across the country because the Democrats hate you too. I hate to break this to people in DSA and other people with illusions that if we just wait 2 more years, it's going to get better. Like, this is what the failures of the Democratic Party has led us to where we are now. This is it. They will not, Bernie Sanders, if he had any brains, he would have ran as an independent. He could have exposed his whole system and said, they're against us. We have our revolution. And I've joined that group. I'd probably be in the left. I'd be in the left wing, probably protesting his ass for a lot of things he does. But I would support a left wing break from them and keep pushing them out. You know, you want to get in early and do it. That's my take on it. But you know, in the meantime, I would join an actual socialist or communist group in the meantime and do that. But this is what led us here. This is how we ended up with Trump. This is the failures. You know, Bernie would have beaten Trump, but here the fuck we are. So congratulations, Democrats. You led us here again. Ugh.
So in the wake of the failure, we see the rise of monsters, to quote Gramsci, and we get garbage like the ACP. Now I remember where this article was, and I definitely pulled from this article for our episode on Jackson Hinkle, because it does go into Jackson Hinkle's origins. There's a good section here on LaRouche as well. We'll put this article in the show notes. Definitely worth checking out.
Definitely.
And so in our monthly segment of what has the ACP done now?
All right.
We had 2 solid episodes. The last little bit about high profile resignations from the Politburo. They're like, oh yeah, turns out these guys are actually unprofessional assholes who are who
could have figured that out.
Wait. Well, they came from. They have so much experience leading parties and being members of organizations. Are you saying just a bunch of Twitch streamers who never do any real life organizing or studying?
Yeah, it's like you're telling me they're a bunch of unstable morons.
Wow. And I think there might be a little bit, I'm going to say it, allegedly quite homophobic and racist. I'm going to say that right now.
Come on, it's not like I say the N-word all the time and shit.
I mean, is there any proof? Well, we'll see.
They
can be way less racist than us.
Well, it turns out they can be way more racist.
Actually, that
was the quote. I could be way more racist than you. It turns out that's absolutely true.
He was not lying. You know, Haas told the truth.
So their awareness of like how the world works is about as good as their operational security, because their private messages continued to get leaked.
Oh God, help us.
So this is an argument that one of their members had with let me see if I can zoom in here.
It's not on the share screen, but if you're looking
so
for it.
two members in the ACP, one of them called the other the N-word.
Oh Lord Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't lie, N-word. I have defended you day one. You were supposed to be banned from RTSG months ago. RTSG is some kind of research collective that I think Noah runs.
It's connected to the ACP. I don't know. You might be right about Noah. I don't know.
You were supposed to be banned from RTSG months ago. You call me a snake. I'll be in Chicago next month, and then soft N-word. Just to reiterate that. So I think this is a member talking to the higher ups, and he's like, just to reiterate, this is the guy that you're telling me to collectively account for. Bullies who call me N-word, and what would you do, Slava? So Slava, I think, is one of the other only few women members in the ACP. What would you do, Slava, if this is your child that he was talking about? What would you expect them to act with trust in the party? When you have an answer, let my mother know as well. You'll realize there's truth to what people say about us, and we need to fix our act inwardly and behave how we want people to outwardly perceive us. So that was a very telling line there. There is truth to what people say about us. I love that. We have been very critical of these people even long before the ACP was even formed. I've been tracking and following these guys for a while now, mostly out of pure entertainment, but like these people are a threat to the membership that joins them. So this is Noah now. Noah writes, Ion is sending these messages to people. These are real messages, but very out of context. He's using the same insults towards not only me, but our party members. Still, though, I take ownership of this and understand it is a fuck up, and I shouldn't have insulted him because all I did was give him ammo. And Carlos, our favorite brain genius.
Oh, yes.
From now on, we should have a policy to not use language that would make us look bad if leaked, at least not outside the e-board and Politburo.
Wait, his objection was not that it was said. It was just don't write it down. Is that roughly what I'm getting?
It's going to make us look bad, so we shouldn't use that kind of language.
I just saw a video of Carlos like praising Andrew Tate.
Yes, that they have tried to delete. We'll get to that. I'll have that in a second too.
Oh my God.
So phenomenal OPSEC and I just
nothing like backing misogynists for your quote unquote communist party in racist language. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Good God. Wow.
So here's Haas, a gay F word, pretending like the N word offended him when all he did was use it himself.
Okay, that's an interesting way to put a sentence together. All right.
So like they don't care. They don't actually care about using racist language.
No.
They care about the optics behind it, and that's the whole problem.
You know, like they claim so much to be like the American Communist Party. And it's like historically, like, you know, like in the late 20s, like the CPUSA, like really cracked down on any form of racism or chauvinism in its ranks. Like they held trials for members and they just kick them out if they use like racist language.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, that's a minimum. Like if this was
like these people would kick out people for using anti-racist language and they wouldn't hold a trial. Well, maybe not. They don't hold a show trial, but yeah.
I mean that's what this slide shows. So they want to talk about. So they're talking about like, should we have a cultural wing that kind of oversees this sort of stuff? Haas writes, "I'm against a separate cultural wing. It's nonsense. Should we also have a communist wing? It's superfluous. Aesthetics define literally everything we do. It can't be made a specific division of labor." So
He's
yeah,
really dumb.
A little bit of Heidegger influence in there.
Yeah. Wow. This is.
And that's what it is. Like all it is aesthetics.
I mean, how is this an actual, like, is this a National Socialist organization? Maybe
Yes.
they got it wrong. Like,
and they're talking about like, you know, can we discriminate against trans people from joining? And Haas writes, we need more transphobes. Everyone must lie and make up excuses. Sorry, but you don't seem determined enough. If they're talking and their own people are like, this opens us up to liability if we deny. Yeah. As to the transgenders question, we as a legal entity open ourselves to discrimination lawsuits if I deny them on that basis. There were other people in these interviews and no one else could find fault with their responses.
No one's going to bring a lawsuit against these people.
No one's going to bring a lawsuit to your shitty organization, dude. Like they're just, I mean, that's like the most, like, I'll be honest. Okay. It's bad everyone is a transphobe should be out of the party. But like the fact that legally speaking, we could be, shut up, you nerd. Like your party's, just leave your party, leave, get out.
Like, for your own goddamn safety, nobody should join this party. At least
no, not at all.
People. No. Absolutely not.
How do you fuck this up so bad? Jesus God Almighty!
And they're all worried about it, and it's all internal transphobia, and they're all worried about the aesthetics because they think trans people are icky and they're gonna look crazy to quote unquote normal people.
Right.
Aesthetics define literally everything we do. I think
this is not a serious group of people.
No, that's like a fascist view.
Yeah.
Fascism is all defined by aesthetics and theater and spectacle.
Right. Like, yeah, you want to do like this is your party should be like educating its members. Your party should be going on pictures.
Come on, they're reading Dugan.
Yeah,
and LaRoche. Come on, give them credit.
That's
assuming
joke.
They can read. I mean, I'm making a big assumption there.
Yeah. I mean, are they gonna like burn a cross to like trigger the libs next? Like, ha, own ya. Oh God. Oh God. This is on mute it goes by mute default on Kick, by the way. It was there you go.
The great Khan.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So this is the Khan himself explaining why they're allowed to use the N-word essentially.
Oh God.
I want to put something out because I'm so worried and I'm panicking. We are the least racist community on the internet by far.
Should make that a sound drop.
Oh my
As a matter of fact, I've been thinking about this.
You can think.
I've been thinking about this. You know, in a way,
he's been thinking very hard about this. Listen, this isn't.
I am a man of color, an Afro-Asiatic Mediterranean male.
What?
And if you look at all the people who have come after me, you start to notice a pattern. You notice the pattern of the ugly face of white supremacy. We got skinheads. We've got Southern Confederates. We've got, and I start to put two and two together, and I go, I am a victim of racism.
Party.
When you think about it, I believe that my enemies are racists. Versailles, what's going on? And I don't know. I'm gonna, if you guys saw the leak, Rev actually the only reason he wasn't punished is because Confederate Bree vouched for him and said, no, this is fine, this is fine. Confederate Bree is the one who, you saw it. She DM'd Rev about it. She knew about it. She covered it up. And then we said, of course, we're not going to go against Bree. She's the hero of the party. So Rev got away with it in his Beria profile picture.
Bury
where
a
he said,
profile
"I don't
picture?
lie," and then nothing else with the reflective glasses.
Bury a profile picture? Are we glossing over this shit?
That's a new one.
They're gonna be Beria. I bet they're gonna be Beria supporters next. Like the most depraved person of like the purges. Holy Christ, my God. Okay. So I'm gonna.
I'll let it play for a little longer, but he does.
Go ahead.
He says something incredible. I don't know. I hope it's this clip.
Anyway.
Okay, come on, get on with it. Okay, all right. I think he's.
Okay, his adrenochrome is wearing off. All right, that's good.
Trailed off there. He said something about. I wish I saved it now.
Oh God.
I think this is it.
Very young.
Okay.
From an ancient land.
Aren't they?
And I kind of blend in a little bit, but little do they know I'm like, you know what it is?
Oh, God. Some liberal ID politics. Here
Y'all
we
ever
go.
seen the X-Men Apocalypse, where the dude came from?
Always a
It's
good
like
start.
Prometheus. You
The
know
two
how in
movies now.
Prometheus they went to a new planet and they found the
similar movies.
true origins of humanity, and it's the engineers. I'm like that, but for the white race.
What?
Fuck is
I
this?
came from a very ancient land. Ancient Middle Eastern, Bronze
This is
Age, a lot of primordial energy. My parents came to this country where I do look kind of like the white people.
This
I
is
have
a
light
convoluted
features,
way
but
to say
I
that
am
people can use racial
so
slurs.
much more ancient than you all, because
You're an asshole.
I
Like
am the,
You're 28 years old, you idiot.
the creator of the white people.
Hans invented white people. Everyone. Okay.
Am I drunk? I'm not. I'm just
No,
joking,
you're
but
just
the joke
stupid.
isn't funny because I'm not laughing. Anyway,
You're not funny either, you idiot.
I'm not ancient white. I'm ancient origin.
You're nobody.
It's
You're
X-Men
just
origins.
30.
Like when in X-Men Apocalypse,
Oh,
when
here
the
we go.
dude came from the pyramid and he was the first blue guy on Earth, that's like me,
No, it's not.
the origin.
You are.
Y'all get it?
This is like the dumbest cult in the world.
It's like
Yeah.
a Marvel movie.
I mean, this is his identity. So he is an ancient among us. Like this is his like narcissistic, weird type of thinking.
You know how he's him and his ilk, they complain about trans people and like 77 genders. He's like doing this like that type of stereotype, but he's applying it to his race and this nonsensical bullshit.
Well, didn't you watch X-Men and where Dugan is made in X-Men too? Like,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
I'm an ancient man. I come from an ancient land.
I can't find it, but like I lost it. There was a clip of him talking about how like black skin is an experience. It's not or something. It was like something really convoluted and very very silly.
I bet it was
Absolutely
stupid.
No understanding of the concept of race.
Wow.
Or the oppression based around it. Yes, race is a social construct, but the repercussions and ideology and laws and societies that have been built around it are very, very real. And the consequences of that is very, very real.
Yeah.
I have one more fun clip. This is Noah from his call-in show. Noah has a call-in show.
Oh, I saw this one.
Okay, I have not. Who's Noah? For fans who may not know of who Noah is,
he's one of the brains over at Midwestern Marks.
Scare quotes once again. Yep.
They merged with Infrared to form the American Communist Party.
This man should be tried for crimes against humanity for doing that. But okay,
I'm surprised this guy hasn't blocked me yet. I think I've given up trying to like Midwestern Marks used to be your run-of-the-mill standard Stalin like organization,
right?
And they, to their credit, they did. I mean, maybe not to their credit because they clearly fucked it up so hard. They did do a lot of like theory-heavy content. They would walk you through chapters of imperialism or whatever, Lenin's imperialism, and it was okay. It was fine.
That's being generous.
But
okay.
Clearly they missed something along the way when they joined this party full of morons. And then because of party unity, they have to maintain all the homophobic, transphobic garbage.
This party's only been around for 13 minutes, but okay. I know. It's not like this is like a long-standing old fucking party. It's just the dumbest party.
So Well, once in a while, a very bored troll will call into his show to waste his time, which I think is the funniest thing ever. And he lost it. He got into it with a queer person.
Okay, let's see.
Class queer person who's telling you that you and the ACP are leaving working class queer people behind with this line. It's reactionary, bro. You've said a lot worse in the last hour of the show about how there's like you agreed with the fascist trans panic movement, bro. You endorsed ideas.
You're using a lot of buzzwords, and we gotta dissect them.
I'm not using buzzwords, sir. I'm a college-educated scientist.
You have been using a lot of fascist movement. What? Hold on. Slow down. Okay? I was trying to make a point, and you interrupted me. Now, at a certain point, the ruling class, even if we say you're right, and like I said, I doubt it, but we can say you are. The ruling class owns this. You gained acceptance. You have the entire ruling class on your side, right? I mean, you can't deny that at this point.
No.
How do you not? You got Citigroup. Citigroup is flying your flag. Citigroup is flying your flag. Explain that for me.
Oh, Citigroup.
Sir, there are Republicans in my state of Nebraska
that Citigroup flies your flag, and the ruling class is not on your side on this issue.
You said all of them.
Explain how Citigroup flying your flag does not.
Citigroup's on my side.
The ruling class
Citigroup all of them.
Why can't you answer that question?
All of them.
So he's saying, explain why Citigroup is flying your flag. Citigroup
it's the most basic thing. It's like it's all this liberal co-option shit.
Yeah,
right. There are plenty of corporations that will celebrate or uphold like Black History Month, where they'll celebrate Pride or something. We all know it's BS that none of them are interested in fighting like homophobia or transphobia or racism.
Right. It's
like empty symbolism and propaganda.
And we're watching it happen in real time too, where these corporations are giving up those positions anyways.
Right. It's also they're real quick. Look at all the DEI stuff gone.
They see a market with these MAGA fucking losers.
First, like they all do this. It doesn't mean that we don't, because a corporation like flies like the pride flag doesn't mean we're not going to fight for gay rights and against transphobia. Yeah. Just because a corporation like has like the pseudo celebration of Black History Month doesn't mean we're going to give up the fight against racism. And Aaron, you just said, what did these people miss? I'll tell you what they miss very clearly. They miss what Lenin said is the communist ideal, which is the tribune of the people, where you fight against all forms of exploitation and oppression, no matter who it affects. That means you fight for trans people. It means you fight for Black people. It means you fight for Palestinians and women. It doesn't mean this kind of bullshit tailing like the most retrograde Neanderthal morons that these people are doing with this MAGA shit. If you're a Leninist, you actually have to fight for oppressed people. It's part of it. It's like that's how the proletariat becomes a universal class, by fighting for everybody, by fighting against all oppression. And this moron, he didn't do that reading. His reading is just like freaking, like the fact that he has an American flag up, like fuck you. And you're saying like the ruling class doesn't support the American flag, you dipshit? Like that's an imperialist flag. It's, a blood-soaked banner. And you're going to fly that, but you're going to shit on a pride flag? Go fuck yourself, you douchebag.
Clip. All right, we got. We are saving the Doug. All right, Doug the chainsaw's in. All right, yeah. What part of your fried brain do you go? Citigroup put a flag up. Like it's like like when I bought Chemical had that stupid. They parodied the Pepsi commercial with like there was a protest and someone handed them a Pepsi. Like did Pepsi like stop the cops from beating the shit out of Black Lives Matter protests? No. This is like the most stupid take on it. And he wants to be like a right winger so bad because he wants to sound tough, because punching down makes him look tough. This is all just aesthetics. As they said, I will believe him when he said it, it's aesthetics. They want to look tough by punching down on people.
They think like the anti-liberal right is something that the anti-liberal left, he's obviously not a leftist, but he thinks like they can unite with them on that, on hating marginalized and oppressed people. And this is why Beyond Left and Right doesn't work, because it's always right wing. It's always any pseudo leftist just adopting to the right. Every time. Because we're actually universalists. We're internationalists, and we care about the fight against oppression. We can't compromise that without compromising what it is to be a communist, what it is to be a Marxist. Right. And the fact that he like dresses that up, with this language, it's insulting. It's insulting to anyone in the long history of various Marxists, Leninists, Trotskyists, whatever organization you talk about.
Right. This is an Alex Jones talking point. Honestly, this is a right-wing talking point. Yeah. Alex Jones would say, look, I'm pretty sure you could find him saying the exact same line about Citibank has a pride flag, or like, it's just insane. These people are a fucking joke, and I can't wait. This is why we dedicate time to these scumbags, because we want to watch them collapse, because they're going to. National Bolshevism eats itself and it destroys itself, and then they all just become fucking fascists.
And
stuff.
another thing, like humor, like left-wing humor, should almost always be directed upward at the ruling class, the bourgeoisie. Always. But you can direct it downward to pond scum, like these people. These people are lesser than us, lesser than any person who's ever been on the socialist and communist left. They are like the dust of humanity, and they deserve to be kicked in the head multiple times. Because you know what? You're not damaging anything there. They don't have brains.
Yeah. My God. This is, I know. Come with the quotes. He's talking about flags with that butcher's apron behind him. Yeah, exactly. Great comment on it. That's exactly right. Like, that's pretty ironic coming from this guy. And it was Eddie Liger, that idiot, supported him too.
Yeah.
So he knows. Yeah.
Eddie writes, LMAO based Noah, sheltered university kid meets normal proletarian dude.
He's proletarian dude. Okay. All right. He's an idiot.
It turns out the caller is a union leader, tenant organizer. DSA chair, but I'll let that slide.
But here's the thing. It's like, no, it's the politics that matter. I don't care about the origin. Let's say that Noah actually is a proletariat. He's wrong. Yep. And let's say that is a sheltered university kid who's arguing against him. He's right.
Yeah, right. And oppressed people are a lot of different things.
Like, it's it's like, this is like some Heideggerian crap. Your politics are your politics. And you know what? If you're going to advance wrong politics, I don't care what your origin is. Fuck you.
Yeah. Should we finish this clip? Let's see what else he has to say.
Christ.
He was on my side.
Why can't you answer the question?
You're being dishonest.
Why can't you answer the question?
You're being
answer
dishonest.
the question. Citigroup.
I did answer the question.
Go.
They're commodifying queer culture.
Explain how Citigroup isn't on your side.
I agree with you that they are.
It doesn't matter.
I agreed with you they are. I agreed with you that they are.
There you go. You and the ruling class agree. You are on their side, and you wonder why communists are skeptical.
You said all of them.
And you wonder why communists are skeptical. You gotta stop interrupting
No, stop calling yourself a communist.
me. I'm gonna start muting you.
Don't interrupting me.
You gotta stop.
Okay, all right. That's how most debates go. Stop interrupting me. I'm going to mute you, and that's just back and forth for half an hour. But
oh my God,
this is why communists are skeptical of the queer movement. No, that's not it at all. You fucking moron.
Oh my God.
Absolutely, yeah. Just dog for brains.
Yeah, this is it. This is the dumbest thing in the world, and these people are hopefully going to be gone pretty soon. So thank God. Holy God. Is there anything else to hurt my brain? Do we have anything else?
I don't know if Trump or Hauser said anything in the last 10 minutes.
Is he streaming?
That's all I have with these guys is their leaked DMs dropping the N-word, and he's Noah yelling at a queer person for being like, hey, maybe cut it out.
Yeah.
That's so Noah says, as long as you are only expressing yourself and not forcing anyone to do anything or manipulating anyone else, or whatever like, do you? Tradcoms use this line but don't mean it because otherwise they wouldn't care about other people with blue hair. Exactly. This is paused Homer on Twitter.
Yeah.
They don't care about people with blue hair or LGBT people becoming fully accepted. They actually don't support individual expression, but they don't want to come out against freedom because it's still too unpopular to go full authoritarian. But just like when Republicans like Ben Shapiro pretend to be libertarian, they can't be sincere when they say they are for being able to do whatever in private, since this is at odds with their religious morality. But they can't come out as theocrats because this clashes too fiercely with the American live and let live ethos.
I mean, this is like saying like, oh, well, this corporation supports Black History Month, therefore all black racism can't exist. It's the same stupid shit you'd be saying.
It's like if the ruling class were to say we're opposed to anti-Semitism, are we going to suddenly like hate Jews?
Yeah. Oh, Coca-Cola supports International Women's Day. How can they be How can we have misogyny when we have international? It's like this is like the dumbest right-wing argument I've ever heard. And this guy, Jesus God, and I stupid. Just stupidest shit I've seen.
If they just, I think you've said it before, Chris, if these people just called themselves like the fascist libertarians or something, we probably wouldn't spend much time with them because they would be pretty honest that they're a bunch of reactionaries. Like they wouldn't even try and hide it. The fact that they call themselves communists and everything, it's like, I don't want to be associated with these people because they're not communists. They are just fascists.
Right.
Yeah.
Or Republicans.
Shout out to, these people who they also claim the mantle of Marxist Leninism, which, not entirely my fight, but we do need all the allies we can get. And shout out to other principled Marxist-Leninists like Johnny Socialism and the
or
folks-
socialism for all.
and socialism
I
for
do
all,
like the
and all of the folks trying to organize and
yeah. I'll make the
fight
United
back.
Front with them on this issue.
Oh,
Actually,
sure.
I do
I
make the
will,
United Front
too.
on this issue.
I will. Every time someone brings up Iran, I'm just gonna whisper it. I'm sure you have things about us. I listen to your podcast. You say stuff about us too. Okay, socialism for all. I'm trying to
I
read
don't
your
think we've
audio,
ever
listen to
been
your
brought
audio
up on
books.
socialism for all, but we've
It
only
does-
said
oh.
nice things about them.
I know, but they say Trotskyism in general. Like, that's all.
That's
Not
true.
us
Yes, good
specific-
point. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we can
fair
certainly
point.
have those discussions, but
Yep. But I still like you though. Just
I
saying.
think that's all I've got. That's some of the ACP bombshells
God.
from this week, and I'm sure there'll be more next week. As long as these guys keep sticking their dick in hornets' nests, we'll be there.
That's awesome. All right, and one thing I'll say too, a little thing that I've been working on. So I'm not naming names because it's just in the infancy of it. And this is just a lesson. Hopefully, other people do too. Because we talk about the need for a mass socialist, mass communist party, and where do we start? And I will say that in the last. Once a month, there's some people I know, they ran for local office as open socialists, did quite well. And a few of us are talking about forming, either joining a new party, forming a party, and we're talking with a bunch of other groups too, who have been pretty good. And, there is a need for it. And it's a nice conversation to be having. I've been talking to some really great people. We had a meeting yesterday. We're going to be going over the party platforms of different groups. We're going to suss out what we like, what we don't like, and have a comradely, respectful conversation between each other's groups about platform issues we like and don't like. It's making me feel good, because I know the typical Trotskyist position seems to be we have to wait and see for labor. If labor's going to do something, and it's been 20 years and there hasn't been any labor movement in 20 years I've been around. The labor movement hasn't created a workers' party. I feel they're too tied to the Democratic Party and it's just not going to break away. Hopefully over time, maybe. But, so, if you're an independent, look out for a good group. There's plenty of good groups out there. Don't join the American Communist Party. That's in DSA. Don't do that. But try to get involved, because I know it's dark out there. We see the news. I'm watching the news too every day. It's depressing. And, let's not hope that the Democrats are going to win and that's going to change anything. If anything, the boot will come off our neck for maybe a split second and then they're going to put it back on with the Democrats too. They're going to do the same shit as the Republicans in different forms. So if you're trying to organize smart, start, even if it's one other person, get with another person, try to work with others. Seek out, you have the internet, please look out Revolutionary Communist Party, Independent Socialist Group, Socialist Party USA. Am I going to mention the communist? There's other ones out there. Firebrand, they're great. Seek them out. Do something like that. But it's good to join actions. It's good to protest, but we need a party. So please, if you can do it, please do it. If you can't, if you don't have the time, and I understand we're short on time, try to donate if you can. Any donation will do. 5, 10, 20 bucks a month. If you can afford it, means a lot. These groups are doing great work. So if you're doing it, I'm still doing it. If you're interested and you're in the New England area and you're interested, let me know. Send us a message at the left opposition podcast at gmail.com. One word. We do check it. So yeah. And like I said, we've been working with some really great groups. We got some good people on board, and these meetings are getting interesting. So we're only meeting monthly because we got 2 years to plan out. But all right, that's it. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, and don't forget, without revolutionary theory, there can be no revolutionary movement, and that's why we host regular reading groups. If you're interested in reading theory, we'll find you a reading group.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah,
the one
so,
we're in, Reform and Revolution, Rosa Luxemburg is the one. The Tuesday one I'm in. There's the
Sundays we're reading a history of the Russian Revolution, and Tuesday is Reform or
the
Revolution
Marxist
by Luxemburg.
Yep, we do the Marxist classic, so that's it too. And we have a movie night.
Ben and I are part of the Capital Reading Group. We're on volume 3.
Wednesday.
On Wednesdays, that's correct. Yes.
So
we are in
folks,
volume 3, but at the same time, like you can still learn stuff from that. Just because you didn't start at the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyone's welcome.
It's
Oh my
intimidating, but eventually you'll get it. It's not as difficult as you may think because it's just a lot of text. But if you got a good group, that's why you break it down. Because reading it alone can be tough. Reading it with a group, you can ask questions. You got some great people. Doug's one of the smartest people I know. Ben is also. Aaron is. I make dick and fart jokes, but I kind of get it eventually too. So ask those guys. Don't ask me. I can ask you backup questions and stuff. But yeah, so definitely, please educate yourself. Join a group. Donate if you can. Join a union. union, start an insurrection, whatever it takes. We gotta fucking win. I don't want to wait 2 more fucking years for this
Don't
shit.
just don't do an insurrection or assassination without like a
don't do an
mass base behind you.
assassination. To paraphrase Trotsky, if that worked, we'd be doing it. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
I wish that's all we had to do. I mean, look, Luigi Mangione is innocent, but also he did it. Healthcare still goes on, but cool, free Luigi. But I'm just saying that didn't actually change the system.
The state cannot be terrorized,
Right.
and that's why we have to organize on a mass movement and on mass
Right.
base.
That's what changes history. Mass movements. We saw that the Black Lives Matter. We saw with Occupy Wall Street. Mass movements are the way to go. And the problem with both was that there was no mass socialist or communist party to guide it. So it went off in all sorts of weird ass directions and we ended up, not winning. So, all right. Awesome.
Okay, I think that's
us for
decent
tonight.
show.
The wrap.
All right. Thank you everyone in the chat. We appreciate you for sticking around. It was great. Like reading the comments. Always nice to read those. So thank you for joining in. It means a lot to us. If you want to check us out, please follow us on the Left Opposition Podcast. We're on Facebook, Blue Sky, MySpace, Instagram. There's a lot. Just Google it. But Patreon. If you want to donate, that's the real sell. Sure, donate 5, 10, 50, $100 a month. Whatever you want to give to us. It helps pay for the Zoom and everything and all the stuff that we do. So it is a great appreciation. And so there we are.
Show me the light and tell me it's right.